And this notion of what would popular applications look like, reinvented but reimagined for a distributed network. So in March, we unveiled KwaaiNet, a distributed peer-to-peer fabric upon which you can run AI. And Intel donated 50,000. That helped us build out the network. Imagine what we can do on a digital public infrastructure, AI built by the people, for the people, no single point of failure, smarter, because each of these nodes is an individual's system. So it's part of a shared storage fabric, it's part of a community inference fabric. That part we've built. We're now imagining what the top layer is going to be. We call it the intent casting network. This comes from Doc Searle's book, The Intention Economy. Maybe the name comes after that, but the notion that we are going to exercise agency on that network. Your personal agency is a collection of agents, and you're not going to be, it's not going to be a double agent that's actually working on behalf of some vendor trying to extract your personal information in order to monetize you better. We have the network up and running. It's called KwaaiNet. This is what it looks like today after the reboot, after we move the DNS to Cloudflare. There's still a bunch of nodes that need to be rebooted, but in table view, this is interesting. You can see there's some very powerful machines on there. My lowly, actually I'm on page 2. This is my machine, my Mac Mini. The one that I'm talking to you right now is contributing to the network, and it's clocked at 120 tokens per second. Conversational AI needs about 20 to 30 tokens a second. That's the rate at which we talk. And so if you're trying to have a conversation, so there's actually someone in Rome, Walter, I don't know if Walter's on the call, but he's got a system up and running in Rome. If we look on the map view, that's actually him there. That's Walter. Actually, he's got 2 nodes. And then we've also got in Malta, we've got Terence. So this is brand new. This is a closed network just to Kwaai members for now. Eventually we'll open it up, and we'll open it up for more people. There's still a lot of work to do. I mean, we're saying it's going to be a network with no single point of failure. Well, we've got single points of failure. We've got the bootstrap servers, we've got the API servers, but we're figuring out ways to distribute those. The essential node, here's me. You'll have your own local storage where you keep your personal knowledge, but the AI elastic compute of the community fabric is yours to utilize. When you become a member, you'll be granted a set of free tokens, 1,000, 1,000,000 tokens. You're going to use those up just doing general queries. However, you can contribute, you can earn tokens by contributing your machine to the network. And it turns out you don't need a big GPU. A small CPU would actually do. Simply connectivity is a contribution. And you get credited for the tokens that pass through your system. And that's how you earn tokens, and you redeem them by using it. So AI for the people, by the people, that's not trying to eavesdrop and spy on you. And as Doc says, narc on you. This is what's come out of the Kwaai labs. So we've challenged our product team to start thinking about those applications, but we're going to stretch that challenge even wider to the broader community. Alan, you came up with a thought, hey, why don't we just cherry pick the top class of applications and re-implement them on there, like a social network platform, a messaging platform.
Absolutely. It could be just a simple aggregation of already open source tools like image generators or video generators or chatbots. We could just make it, the idea would be that Kwaai is something that we self-open to, so you can connect your computer. In order to be part of it, you have to connect a node. Or maybe just buy tokens, right? And then the tokens can be used for other people who want to be part of the nodes. I think this is perfectly hand in hand with the Web3 community, where the whole idea of Web3 is that you have decentralized finance and decentralized smart contracts. So this goes hand in hand with that. Now you're just saying decentralized AI, which then you could raise capital through selling a token, like a publicly traded coin, and that coin would be tied to the success of the KwaaiNet in a sense, because once KwaaiNet has services to offer, like maybe a legal GPT or a healthcare GPT or all these things kind of plugged in to it, then there's a reason for people to spend tokens, and maybe it's cash, maybe it's using their computer, maybe it's a combination of both. But that generates real value for the entire organization, which could then be, reinvested in further infrastructure to make sure there's no points of failure, or at a certain point, maybe a dividend back to the token holders or something.
That's where the devil lies in the detail of how that token economy works. Is it like frequent flyer miles? Is it a closed economy? Can you buy into it? Can you liquidate?
I think I think, those are questions for another time. I think the
Mhm.
idea with that is, is this something that everybody wants to pursue? Which I think it feels like in my case, from my standpoint, I was kind of very on the fence about the Web3 community and stuff, but this is a real service. This is a real product that can be delivered for real value. And that's a different thing. You're using distributed technologies instead of just to scam people and crypto coins and NFTs. You're creating real value for people in their lives. And the fact that we're not tracking and tracing and stealing their data is the value there, in my opinion. And if you're in Iran versus you're in, Syria, maybe there's places in the world where you can access this, and people aren't spying on your phones and stuff like this. So there is value to this, great value to the world, and so I think people will pay for that value, that anonymity and ability to have this powerful collection of tools. And I put the um, top 10 AI tools, I guess, if you would, or solutions in the chat. So you can take a look, healthcare, chatbots, yeah, that's my 2 cents anyway. I hope it helps.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
sorry, one more thing I'll add.
mhm.
When I was away in Dubai, I met a gentleman who was very, very early to Bitcoin, when it was trading at like 30, 40 cents. And he was the first investor in a whole bunch of coins, including Decentraland, which became, it's not so hot now, but at one point was worth more than Unity and Unreal. It was a $40 billion monster. And I mean, they didn't really create the value that I believe Kwaai could create as a collective, as a group of products. Um, so imagine that same model where this thing becomes a multi-billion dollar product, but instead of, raising all this money and then crashing because there's no real value, this would have real intrinsic value. And I think that's the difference between where we were, 5 years ago with all the metaverse hype and where we are right now with AI that can actually be useful to you.
Yeah. Well, look, I'd love to drill deeper into that. I think that's exactly it. Even the blockchain, when you think about what is the compute being used for, it's um, it's crunching this mindless computation. It's not actually That's not actually productive. Imagine if you were to turn that round and say, okay, the blockchain computation is actually going to be computing real work.
Oh, Reza, why that you nailed it, nailed it.
And so rather than, thinking about what mindless computation you can do, and there's proof of work, and there's the other computation of I can't even recall what it is. Hussein, you probably know it. But the difference between the existing blockchain and Ethereum,
Proof
what
of
is it?
stake and proof of work, you mean?
Yeah, proof of work and proof of stake. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are completely unproductive, wasteful computations. Why don't you do something meaningful? I mean, somebody suggested, why don't you use that compute for AlphaFold? And then, if you've done any meaningful work or SETI at home or something like that, and somehow figure out how to um, uh, earn your stake. That's what it is. So you're earning your stake now by actually contributing to the community inference load. We
So
we've
Reza, can
yeah,
I just add on to that for 1 second? I think it's an interesting opportunity. This sparks something in my brain. I think it's an interesting opportunity, maybe to or like to tap into the existing currencies that are basically doing mathematical problems for no reason other than to solve a block, but put it to work in solving, things like protein folding's already solved, but other things like that, where it's basically powering the network for all, AI inferencing and stuff. So it would decrease the amount of server costs around the world. It would decrease the number of
exactly.
semiconductors we need in general, because we already have lots of semiconductors in the planet. We just use them for, some things. So what if, all these crypto mining facilities that are spending, billions and billions of dollars collectively on power, what if we could figure out how to tap into Bitcoin? So every Bitcoin that's mined is now serving somebody's AI requirements. If you, I don't know how that would, work. I think you'd have to, work with the Bitcoin committees and get it voted on and stuff like that. But this is a way to leverage these massive server farms around the world to
Massive.
solve real problems and be
Right.
useful to the world instead of just solving stupid blocks and burning energy for no reason at all, other than somebody didn't code it right, because proof of work is expensive, proof of stake is free. So
Right.
yeah, it's a great idea, really.
Okay, well, look, it's not my idea. There were lots of people who said let's use that wasted compute, those compute cycles on something meaningful. And I think it was the AlphaFold people that suggested something like that. But hey, here we've got people that need to be able to use the tools of AI. The only recourse they have is to go and buy it from the six oligarchs in the world that have the monopoly on AI. It also means sending your personal data up there. Okay, I think we can drill deeper into that, Alan, separately on a separate call, and we could see if we can put some meat on the bones of that idea. I see a few other questions, and I saw some comments. Doc, we haven't heard from you in a while. Let's share your wisdom with us.
Well, I like to talk. I just wanted to add that uh, all of the AIs we have now do not have access to all of human knowledge and wisdom. There's a great deal of it that's still in libraries, is locked up in academic journals that cost money to access. Uh, there's just a huge amount of information out there that is not on the web. It's not on the net. Use ChatGPT and it says searching the web, right? So it does far more than that, and it's looking at more than the web in many cases, but it's not as complete, as one might think. But anyway, but the points are all good. It is a reflection. It is a mirror in a way.
Well, we're coming up to time. I think we can go a little bit over and maybe hear from some new member voices. And then, Myra, if you can post that you have already done, you've posted the coordinates of the after
Of
party.
course I have.
New voices, new faces.
I'm here. Uh, I love to run with Doc. Maybe not as often as I would like to.
We go back.
But
Way
we go
back.
back. We go back a ways anyway.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I like to refer to myself as I'm the crazy guy with crazy thoughts. So you'll often hear and even see me throw stuff against the wall and just shake your head, but that's me. So
Fantastic.
welcome. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this.
You found your tribe. Thanks so much. Norman, we haven't heard from you in a while. You went away and you're back now.
Yes. I'm back from corporate America again, where I've spent a lot of time kind of focused on what does it mean for kind of mid-sized enterprises to implement AI, and it's kind of a completely different game. One of which I think the Kwaai mission is a lot more relevant than, again, getting your AI from the big six. So
Yeah.
glad to be re-engaged here, and good to see you, Reza and Doc.
Yeah.
And Ruth.
Thanks so much, Norman. Stuff's moved along since we last spoke, so maybe we could talk more about that in the after party. Just want to have one more shout out. There's Walter Lundari. Walter, tell us what's new in your world. What new thing happened this week?
Yes, hi everybody. Thanks for having me. The good news is that I completed my thesis in computer engineering, and the title is An Engineering Perspective of the Studies and Role of the Kwaai Association in Democratizing Artificial Intelligence. So most of the job has been done, so I'm just waiting for June 12th for my graduation. I have to present the thesis, which is about Kwaai, and I'm very honored to present this. Thank you all for your help.
Well, you're welcome. So Walter wrote his master's thesis on Kwaai. So thank you very much. He's going to be defending it on June 12th. So I've got a copy of it, but we're not going to publicize it until after he's gone through the embargo period. He got sort of in-depth access to the work groups, and he interviewed a lot of the key players. And so well done.
Thank you very much.
On that, we can move over to the after party. No, because look, last week I bought the drinks, so who's buying this week? And I'm drinking Earl Grey. Okay, and here's my tea bag in here, and it's still brewing. Okay.
So the after party is the steering committee. It's the thought leadership. It's where we drill down into the fun thoughts. So please come and join.